Michael Shikha Niketan Higher Secondary Government-sponsored co-ed English medium school has taken an excellent initiative of teaching and make our students learn day-to-day lessons through audio and video in our YouTube channel. Teachers of all the subjects are working hard to enhance these online classes in the midst of this pandemic situation. It is a request to all the teachers, students and guardians to click the bell icon and subscribe our channel.
So we are going to start with a new chapter, that is respiration. So before we start, what is respiration? Let me ask, what do you mean by metabolism? So metabolism means when we eat food, we are using that food for various activities in our body. So that is in a whole we call metabolism. And so we are breathing, we are respiring, we are using the food for various other activities. So that one is the metabolism. So metabolism had two parts. One is catabolism and another is anabolism. So let me write it for you. Metabolism have two parts. One is anabolism, the other is catabolism. Anabolism means all the things are arranging itself together, and catabolism means breaking up. All the things are breaking up. So anabolism means all the things are coming in contact and are joined together, and catabolism means it is all breaking up. So why we need these terms? Because we are going to use that terms in respiration. How? So basically, when we tell you the definition of respiration, people usually say that breathing out of oxygen, breathing in oxygen and giving out carbon dioxide is respiration. That is completely a wrong definition. So respiration means a catabolic process in which energy is used from energy is being taken from the simple sugar and it is used for various life activities. So that is what respiration means. So to sum up, respiration means is a catabolic process in which energy is formed from breaking simple sugar. What simple sugar is? Glucose. From breaking simple sugar and using it in life processes. So this is the basic definition of respiration. So before we start the total cellular process of respiration, let's come to the basic. So in respiration, what happens? We eat the food and the food is broken down and produce a large amount of energy, and that energy we are using for various metabolic activities, metabolic processes. That is the definition of respiration. In plants needs three organs for respiration. One is stomata, that is found in leaves, you know. The second one is lenticule, that they are found on the stem, and the third one are pneumatophore. Pneumatophore are found on the roots. You have seen Sundari is a plant found in Sundarbans. So in Sundari, the plants, the roots come out from their soil because the soil is very muddy. So the roots cannot breathe properly. So the roots come out from the soil, from the ground towards the soil, then again goes down to the soil. So that projection of the root are pneumatophores. So those are found especially in plants. In animals, how do animals respire? Animals have various respiratory organs, like their body surface or amoeba, paramecium. So they respire throughout their whole body. So body surface. The next one are the next one are gills. So gills, you know, the fishes are having gills. So fish use gills for breathing, for respiration. Then lungs. So these are the way lungs are found in, you know, in mammals. So these are the organs which are found in various animals for respiration. In humans, the lungs have double membrane. The membrane is known as pleural membrane. Okay, yes, pleural membrane. The pleural membrane is covering the whole lungs, and inside the lungs are small balloon-like structure, alveoli. So basically that balloon-like structure is a main part in the lungs that is helping in respiration. What is happening? We will further connect the alveoli, the lungs, through the blood in the next chapter, that is circulatory chapter. So alveoli is a major role in respiration in humans. Okay. Now we are going to read about the cellular level of respiration. Okay, for that, the cellular level of respiration. So the respiration is, now we are going in the cellular level, in the cells, what exactly happens we are going to learn now. So what happens? You are eating a lot of food, you are eating a lot of glucose, you are eating a lot of the food is broken down in your stomach by your teeth and in the stomach and your intestine, and then it is going to the blood. The blood is taking all the glucose where? To different various cells, isn't it? So inside the cells, once the food enters the cell, it comes to the cytoplasm. You know the inside cell what are present, various organelles are present, and a liquid like structure and a liquid and a jelly like liquid is present, that is a cytoplasm. So the glucose enters the cytoplasm. Once it enters the cytoplasm, glucose is broken down. Glucose, and this process of breaking down of glucose in the cytoplasm is called glycolysis. So glycolysis happens where? It happens in the cytoplasm. What happens? Glucose is broken down to produce what? A lot of energy and pyruvate. Okay, what happens? So glucose is broken down, glucose is taken inside the body, then cells uses 2 ATP, the cell gives 2 ATP. Hence, like this is the glucose, this is glucose. You don't have to discuss the total steps in details, just the gist, just the summary you have to read. The total steps are in your further class, in class 11. So what happened in glucose? First the cell takes the glucose, then cell gives 2 ATP, cell gives 2 ATP, and what happens? And various compounds are formed. Okay, like G3P is formed, HAP is formed, and all, and finally it gives pyruvate. While giving pyruvate, what happens? So pyruvate is finally the end result of the glycolysis. So what happens? The glucose is taken, energy is giving to ATP and forming various compounds, and one of which is G3P and HAP and other compounds, and finally pyruvate is produced. When pyruvate is produced, it is giving, the cell is giving 2 ATP, and after the formation of pyruvate, it is giving the cell what? It is giving the cell 4 ATP and 2 NADP. And by the way, 1 molecule of glucose is giving 2 molecules of pyruvate. Okay, why 2? I will discuss it in your further class, in class 11, not now. So 2 molecules of pyruvate are produced from 1 molecule of glucose. Okay, so if we calculate the amount of ATP used by, so I mean the amount of ATP that the cell has given is, so 2 ATP are the energy that is given to the, that is given by the cell. So we are going to minus this, and 4 ATP are produced by the cell. And by the way, do remember one thing, 1 NADP means 3 ATP. Okay, 1 NADP means 3 ATP. So if we calculate the amount of glucose in glycolysis, so total 10 ATP are formed where 2 the cell have given. So the cell have given, so it will now repay the cell. Okay, so what will happen, 10 ATP minus this 2 ATP. So total amount of ATP formed in glycolysis is 8 ATP. Okay, now the pyruvate is formed, glycolysis is completed. Now what happens? The pyruvate now enters the mitochondria. Okay, so after entering the mitochondria, a large amount, a lot of enzymes are coming there, and it is converting pyruvate into acetyl-CoA. Again I am going to say, a large amount of enzyme, various enzymes are coming, and it came and it transformed pyruvate into acetyl-CoA, and in that process it has given 2 NADP, okay, and 2 carbon dioxide. So that stage is called the intermediate stage. So first step is glycolysis, second one is intermediate step. This one is the first step, second one is intermediate step, where pyruvate is converted to acetyl-CoA, and in this process it is giving up 2 NADP and 2 carbon dioxide. By the way, why 2? Because in our previous, the previous glycolysis we have seen 1 glucose is giving 2 pyruvates. So as the 2 pyruvates both are used, so 2 pyruvates are giving 2 acetyl-CoA and 2 NADP and 2 carbon dioxide. So 2 NADP means 2 into 3, that is 6 ATP. Okay, after this acetyl-CoA is formed, what happens? Acetyl-CoA will react with oxaloacetic acid already found in the mitochondria. This oxaloacetic acid is already found in mitochondria. It reacts with acetyl-CoA and it will form a compound, that is citric acid. So the first stable compound formed is citric acid. So the Krebs cycle is also known as citric acid cycle. And why it is known as Krebs cycle? Because the scientist who invented this, the total metabolic pathway, was named Krebs. Okay, and it is also known as citric acid cycle. Why? The first stable compound formed is citric acid. Citric acid has 3 carboxyl group. Carboxyl group is COH group. So citric acid is having this group. So since 3 carboxyl group is present in citric acid, it is also known as tricarboxylic acid cycle, TCA. Okay, it is also known as TCA cycle. So what are the various name of Krebs cycle? One is Krebs cycle itself. Another next one is citric acid cycle, and the last one is TCA, tricarbolic acid cycle. So if any of the names are given, so don't get confused, it's the same thing. So what happened in citric acid cycle or Krebs cycle? So till now we have studied glycolysis intermediate step. The third part of the respiration Krebs cycle is, I am going to tell that in the second part of this video.
Thanks for watching. Leave a like and comment. Subscribe. And do share the video among your friends.